Check it out, YouTube. We've got the FMS Super Scorpion 90mm, and we're flying this bugger on an SMC 5300 high voltage pack, which is conveniently located about as far back as I can get it, and a 5280RC TrueFire afterburner unit. This is a pretty cool plane. I don't think we really gave it a fair shake last time I filmed it because it was just kind of really dark and dreary that day, super windy, and the camera wasn't doing a great job of keeping up with it. It was just super crappy looking on the footage. Will did a great job trying to keep up with it, but the camera would not cooperate. Today we've got beautiful blue skies with awesome cirrus clouds for the backdrop. And a couple other things to note too. This thing is a 90mm motor. It does use the same motor as the E-flite Viper 90mm, and it does have sweet landing gear, just like the Viper 90. So these are actually pretty good spring suspension with trailing links. They'll take any kind of abuse you throw at them, just like the Viper 90. This plane is basically an orange version of the Viper with a similar exhaust profile as the Viper. It actually is almost like a Viper with twin tails in some ways. They fly very similar, except this one I've set up to work with ailerons so that the elevators actually roll and move. And I'll show you that as soon as we get the plane on the ground. That substantially improves the rollability. It almost makes it full span ailerons because the elevators are in line with the ailerons. Really improves how it handles in the sky. We're gonna show you guys just how that works. Man, what a windy day this is. Check it out, we got the ailerons working right now. I can turn them off on a switch using an 8-channel Spectrum 8360T receiver. It's linked in the description if you want to set this up. It's super easy to do. All you got to do is split the elevators, and that doesn't take any effort at all. This massively improves how well the plane flies in terms of roll potential. This plane was kind of lackluster before in terms of roll, but now it's not. Let's get it up on this SMC pack and this 5280 burner. Love doing those barrel rolls after takeoff. It's, I don't know, kind of my signature move with the gear out. Look at the roll rate. Now, we're gonna go up and turn it on, like leave it on, and then we're gonna turn it off. There's the difference. You can see how fast it rolls. Let's do it one more time in case you guys weren't able to see it. We're gonna go straight. Ailerons, normal ailerons. I'm gonna leave them on because it just helps the plane aggressively maneuver much better. With the 5300 is a little heavy, but it seems to handle just fine. 23.56 volts. We're gonna see if I can get a high-speed low pass. I don't want to be too close to the pavement because I'm afraid it'll hit my wife who's filming today, but it's actually tracking pretty good. But it's more cool when you can get it to go straight toward the camera. So I'm gonna get it lined up with the taxiway, and then we're gonna see what we can get with it. Coming in high speed. We're gonna line up with the left edge of the taxiway from the plane's perspective, just like this. It's actually cutting through the turbulence really well. Let's take it over and backflip it. Crap, I lost sight of it. Oh. This is why safe is important, guys. I completely lost track of the plane when it stalled and it went behind those trees. Did you catch it all the way, dear?
I caught it go behind the trees.
All right, I can't tell what you just said, but that's all right. The plane is fine. That's why we have safe sometimes. Everybody makes mistakes, and don't hate on people for using a gyro. Now, while I get my nerves calmed down just a little bit, I'm gonna just drop the flaps and bring it in and do a quick touch and go, just to get my nerves back, because that has never happened to me before. And if it had been an insect stinging me or something else, it was just nice to have the ability to throw it in safe and know that which direction it was gonna be and get it back and have no problems with it. Oh my gosh. My heart rate's going crazy. If I looked at my smartwatch right now, it would probably say 130 beats per minute from doing nothing but standing here. But again, Spectrum Safe is great. Like, I'm gonna throw it in safe again. Here's me just flying in safe. Do I wanna land it in safe? No. Do I wanna keep it in the air in safe? Not much, because I have a very limited bank angle to work with. Can I fly it without safe? Absolutely. I think you guys have seen me fly almost anything without safe. It's just there as a backup to have in case you screw something up. Whoa, stalled the wing. It's just important to know that, like, you can get out of those mistakes. I'm gonna stop talking about this. I think you guys get the point. Let's go ahead and bring it in, do another quick touch and go. The Super Scorpion is awesome. It's got very docile flight characteristics. I don't think you're gonna get it to high alpha unless you get the ailerons to pop up, but I do think you can get it to land really well. especially if it gets in these areas of wind shear, which just randomly drops like that. Oh, geez. I had throttle and everything and it still dropped like a rock, but that's what those gear are for, right? They're good. I wasn't expecting it to drop like that. That was a good like 10-foot sink for no reason. Let's try bringing it in again and see if we can repair that and make a better landing. Maybe go half flaps this time so it doesn't get caught as easily by areas of wind shear. All right, keeping the nose pushed down. There we go, looks like it's doing good. Man, it is crazy windy out here. Jeez, you can just see it getting like crazy turbulence. Turbulence is not a word, but I guess we're making it one. It is just rough. I'm gonna bring it down and we're gonna swap packs out in a minute. We'll do some performance flying with it on a lighter battery that is. See what we can get. Man, these winds are nuts. I'm gonna actually land it without flaps. I think that's causing the problem. On windier days, you wanna run it nose heavier and you definitely wanna run it with as little flap as you can get away with. Otherwise it just starts acting real wonky.
22.73 volts.
All right, no flaps, bring it in. There we go. We can probably wheelie it a little bit. There we go, wheeling. There we go, keeping her up. There we go. Got it. Trying to get it to brake by using the wheelie to my advantage. It's still freaking going. Man, this thing's cool though. All right, let's swap it in and check out a different battery pack with it. We're now running on an SMC 4400 high voltage pack, which is now pushed a little bit further back than the 53 was. That's getting us to balance pretty well. Let's pick it up and show you guys what the balance point is with the gear out. I don't like this battery latch. It does not always want to go in. It's like it's stuck on something. Let's hold the plane upside down. Take a look at the balance point with the wheels out. We are balancing almost over the mains level. So where my two fingers are, pretty much like right in front of the mains, about right there. So this will be interesting with these winds. We're gonna definitely have to bring it in with no flaps. All right, getting her lined up for takeoff with the tailerons and all that fun stuff. Let's get her up in the air. Stall takeoff.
Gear up, flaps up.
This thing is a hoot. Kind of weird looking. It's like some kind of fighter jet that was never built, but it flies good. Let's get the voltage going.
24.03 volts.
24 volts on a 4400 SMC pack. Look at that roll rate you get with the tailerons enabled. Turning them back on and off. I like that roll rate. It's very crisp and responsive to me. Let's do some Top Gun canyon flying because it's fun to do. Trying to be mindful of any high-speed stalls as we pull the elevator. I love when I get close to those trees and I can see the shadow of the plane on it. Set up a plane right with the right center of gravity and you can make it do all sorts of cool stuff. Gonna go vertical, put it into a big loop. That was a 9 G-force pull right there. I pulled it a little too hard and it stalled out. That was a high-speed stall. That was another high-speed stall. Screwed it up a little bit. It's fun. I like it. I like being able to push this thing and do goofy stuff with it. Speaking of non-goofy stuff and more scale maneuvers with a very unscaled jet, let's try to land it, do a couple touch and goes now that the wind has kind of died down. I was promised 8-mile-an-hour gusts and I got like 30 instead. I don't know who to talk to you about that. I ain't happy. All right, that was objectively awful. For some reason, the burner, I think I didn't connect it quite right, so only the blue light is getting connected. No big deal. Still works, still looks cool. I mean, it's not like this jet would have an afterburner anyway, am I right? All right, let's try that landing again.
22.91 volts.
That was terrible. We can salvage that. Get it lined up. There we go. It is a pretty good touch and go monster. You can do some cool stuff with it. Let's drop the gear. and do an inverted, oh man, it's hands off. Let's do an inverted pass right above the grass with the wheels out.
22.18
Get lined up for it, because like I don't even have to touch it with how well balanced it is right now with that lightweight pack.
3 minutes.
Little sloppy looking.
Gear up.
Trying to avoid going into those trees again like I did earlier with the jet. But you know what else we can do? We can get a nice high-speed pass.
22.45.
Let's line it up, get it down with that taxiway down there, get it straight over, get that shadow on those trees, see how close we're getting to them. This is fun. I live for this kind of stuff. All right, line her up with the runway.
Gear down.
You can hear the gear coming down from all the way out there. They're quite loud, aren't they? And the wind just randomly died. So you know what?
22.32 volts.
Now they're kind of running low on power, and we've been flying for about 4 minutes on a 4400 pack, which is actually pretty good for a 90mm jet. We're gonna go ahead and line her up to land. There we go. Get ready to chop the power, see if we can settle it in for a nice wheelie landing. Ain't perfect, but it's good enough. Now, one of the advantages of running a lighter pack is that you can get your wing loading down, which means you can take off a little faster too. One of the disadvantages of doing it on a day like this is that it's so windy, it's gonna be much more affected by wind shear and turbulence. Let's see if we can get a sweet wheelie takeoff. Woo! She stalled on me. I just pushed that nose down and got her back up. Making mistakes all over today, but that's all right. Does knife edge a little bit. It is a weird twin tail design. Let's try knife edge again. There it goes. Has a little bit of roll coupling, but it works.
22.84 volts.
It's fast. It's about 110 mile an hour jet. For those of you guys who care about that kind of thing, let's make the flaps dump out as we pull the elevator, see what it does.
Think normal.
It stalls is what it does. Sweet. I was hoping it would be more pitch aggressive, but unfortunately was not. So much turbulence today. It's interesting to fly in, but it probably isn't coming through on camera, but I can definitely feel it when I'm moving the plane around in the sticks, the way it's responding to me.
3.69 volts.
But no use in complaining in it. You just gotta do what you can to fly. You know, fly in what you got. You choose to fly in it, it's your responsibility at that point. To its credit, the plane's doing a pretty good job of cutting through it. It almost did a pop top there for a second. That was pretty cool. Unfortunately, these 4400 packs get burnt out pretty quick, so we're gonna have to go a little lower on it. Let's see if we can get a slow pass with the flaps out, see what it looks like. Won't be as exciting for sure, but we'll see what it does. So flip it around, go toward the trees, nose it back over, drop in full flaps. Probably need to use half throttle to keep it up in the air, depending on how aggressive the flaps are in this wind. There we go.
23.21 volts.
It is a little bit more susceptible to turbulence with the flaps out, it feels, but it's not doing too bad. Not so much roll turbulence, but where the plane tends to, what do you want to call it? Just drop or ascend randomly without the nose going up or down.
22.73 volts.
Let's go sticks to the top left. That's kind of cool. It does like a hyper roll or something. Let's try to land it a couple of times. Nice so you guys can see what's actually happening with the jet, with the ability to slide it around in different banks and whatnot here.
Flaps full.
Drop full flaps, but I'm gonna pull them up at the first sign of it getting kind of wonky. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Gear are out.
3 minutes.
It is a little bit more pitch sensitive. We're gonna pull the flaps up. It's definitely getting wonky. Whoa, baby. Okay, we're going around. You can always go around when things get weird. Yeah, I thought we were gonna give this plane a fair shake, and we are, and it's handling pretty well, but it's just a terrible day to fly. That's on me. I should have been the one to not decide to fly today, or at least use heavier packs, but I only brought 44s for it after that first 53 that I had. All right, here we go. Look at it just getting blown around. But we can make it work. Got a sweet dust off though, even though I scraped the wing. That's what orange electrical tape is for. It's like a perfect paint match for this plane, so those wingtips are gonna get scraped up on a day like this. It's just best to accept it. It's not a big deal. They're foam airplanes, they're designed to take abuse. As long as the airframe's still good, you have nothing to worry about. I'm gonna move the battery further forward on this next flight and then give you guys some of my additional thoughts on it. All right, let's get her in, no flaps. Jeez, man, what a day. Okay, so giving you guys my thoughts on this thing. It is weird. It's weird to fly, but it's fun. In terms of fit and finish, it's really good. In terms of flight performance, it's a little shaky. I would say this plane is, I don't know, about an 8 in terms of flight performance, but it does look pretty unique. It's pretty cool. I may have given it a higher score in the past, but on a day like this, having objectively looked at it again and having fun with it, you know, getting these tailerons set up and everything, it rolls really well. It does a lot of cool maneuvers, but there isn't a whole lot it can do. You can't get it to tumble real well. You can't get it to do much more than like basic aerobatic maneuvers. Now, if that's your thing, then you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Maybe it will be a higher score for you, but for me, this is definitely in the 8 range. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do love the solid gear. I mean, like, you saw me get stuck in wind shear earlier probably, and it just dropped like a rock, like that, and it didn't care. So it's definitely built well. For a foam jet, it's one of the more robust ones, so that kind of edges it up closer to an 8.5 for me. So I'd say 8.5 for this because of how well built it is. And nicely enough too, it uses the same struts as the Viper 90. So if you have one of these and you have a Viper 90, you can actually swap the struts out between them and have part commonality that you can kind of cannibalize from. It's kind of a remnant of full-scale aviation there that you can kind of like pull a trick from. Overall, love it. Could be a little bit better, but overall I enjoy it, and I think you guys will too. Check it out, links in the description if you want to support us. If you're interested in how it flies and other characteristics, let's check out the B-roll section coming up. Takeoffs are uneventful, probably the easiest part of the whole flight experience with the Super Scorpion. Pilots of any skill level will have no problem making this jet fly. The issue is more about getting a good landing. Be careful flying it on windy days. Wind shear will pick it up and drop it like a rock. You can avoid the wing rocking and wing dropping by holding a flatter approach with a little bit of throttle and then flare it on the mains. The obvious piloting mistakes on display here should demonstrate why holding the nose up on approach isn't ideal with this jet. Go for a Viper style approach. Keep the nose pushed down until it's time to flare, and then apply some elevator pressure to pull the nose up and settle it down on the mains. If you like what you see, we've got a couple of discount codes that you can use. Referral TwobrosRC gets you 10% off of your first order, and TwobrosRC gets you $10 off at fmshobby.com. Hopefully we can help you save a bit of cash. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time with a new upload.